Yo, what is going on, guys? Flashverse here, and welcome back to another video on The Flash. And in this video, we'll be focusing on the DCU's version of The Flash in James Gunn's universe. And we'll be talking about the things James Gunn must do with The Flash in the DCU. And this is in terms of like the character and like specific storylines that they should go for and they shouldn't go for. So obviously now we have entered James Gunn's DCU phase with multiple more promotions taking place for Superman, which of course is their first upcoming film. And we should be expecting a trailer in the next couple of days. And depending on when you're watching this video, maybe that trailer is already out. We're just getting more and more promo for upcoming projects in James Gunn's universe. Like today we just got a new trailer for Peacemaker, which just looks wild. But yeah, we're getting so much more promo for James Gunn's DCU. And one of the more frequently asked questions is The Flash. What are they going to do with The Flash? After all, this character is one of the most popular DC characters, and it's kind of weird that we haven't really had anything announced to do with The Flash yet. But we did obviously get this like mini teaser from like Creature Commandos, for example. So we do know that The Flash exists in some way, shape, or form in this DC universe, but we just don't know to like the extent he's going to be involved in and when are they going to announce this project to do with The Flash. Now we don't even know which version of The Flash is going to be in the DCU. Like that's how clueless we are. Is it going to be Wally? Is it going to be Barry? We don't know. But of course we will be talking about all of this in this video. I'll be giving you guys my overall opinions in what I think they should do. Now, like I said, obviously a couple of months ago, we did get a tease regarding The Flash in Creature Commandos in this like very mini cameo. But in terms of anything crystal clear, James Gunn says that they're holding the beat with the character, which pretty much means that like they don't have plans for this character anytime soon. And it makes sense because of the shambolic movie that we got of The Flash with Ezra Miller. The film wasn't very good and didn't really do good in numbers either, so I do understand why James Gunn wants to be like, hold on, let's get this DCU sorted, let's get this whole phase sorted and we'll focus on The Flash eventually. Just right now, it's not our priority. I do understand that. But obviously, there is going to be a time where they're going to have to put their heads into The Flash and get this project sorted. And I know James Gunn will do a very good job with this character. And like I said, over here, we're going to discuss how they can make The Flash work in the DCU. So the first things to go over is to decide whichever route they're going to take with The Flash. Now, what I mean by this is, are you going to do Barry Allen or are you going to be going forward with Wally West? Both of which obviously have their benefits. Obviously, starting off with Barry Allen, he is your main Flash. He is the most popular version of The Flash and the character most people would like to see as The Flash. He definitely has the cooler storylines to explore as well. I think Barry Allen just makes the most sense as this in this DCU, superheroes are already around, the JSA is around, Superman is in his early years of being a superhero, he's still young. So this means that the Flash is already around, probably in a couple of years experience already, and it just fits, it matches. It does depend on when this film's going to be set and where this film's going to be set. Like, is it gonna chronologically take place before Superman? Is it going to take place after Superman? Obviously that matters as well, because if it takes place before Superman, then you can lean more along the lines of like an origin. You can lean more along the lines of a much earlier version of the Flash that's getting used to his abilities, and by that you can explore the Speed Force, you can explore the Flash's abilities, you can explore the Flash's powers, you can establish characters, focus on Barry Allen's CSI side of things as well, and also you can delve into Barry's trauma, which of course, because of his mother's murder and his dad being framed for it and his dad in prison, you can delve into all of these with earlier years of the Flash if it takes place before Superman, and you can obviously have a speedster villain as well. But chronologically, if this film is going to take place after the events of Superman, then I don't think any of this will be necessary. There's no need to, follow up with like a earlier unexperienced version of the Flash. Like, you can obviously have a more experienced version of the Flash. You can have a story which involves Wally West as well. You can obviously go through all of this, and you can obviously explore different villains. Now, for me personally, I think it would be a bit of a problem if you are going to focus on the Flash, if it's going to take place before the events of Superman. Primarily, the reason for me is because we've kind of already had that with a decade of a TV show. We've already had a whole 10 season TV show with the Flash, with his ever growing abilities, with him focusing on his origin, getting struck by lightning, having a team, getting used to his speed, exploring the Speed Force, having speedster villains, all of it. I get, yes, whatever James Gunn is going to do with the Flash is gonna somehow have involvements with the show in some way, storyline wise. Like, there's gonna be aspects obviously he would take inspiration from. I do get that, whether it just even be simple characters or villains they use. So, having similarities to this TV show, I get, yes, it's going to be unavoidable. But like, my only issue would be if they're going to focus on a more inexperienced version of the Flash, is the similarity that we would have, and that we would be focusing on something we've already seen. It can work for the big screen, but again, like, I would rather something new, like something we haven't seen before. Therefore, I can see why they would want to do a completely fresh take and focus on Wally West being the Flash. Wally obviously explores a brand new opportunity of storytelling. He becomes a new, fresh take on the character that we've never seen. Like, we've obviously had Wally West on the TV show, but like, we've never really had Wally on the spotlight being the Flash, having his own storyline. So it would be really cool to see and follow Wally as the main protagonist of his own film. I think that would be really cool. And he was the one teased in the DCU Creature Commandos, I believe. So it can work. But for me personally, I think Barry Allen is too big of a character to just not explore, especially if you are building on a new DC universe and you are trying to establish the Justice League. He has to be there, I would say. So I would rather you have Barry Allen as the Flash, and bear in mind he does have the better villains as well. He's the far better character with better storylines they can explore. But I would want a Flash movie where the film kicks off, it's got a story, but Barry Allen is already the Flash and he's a couple of years in and experienced already. With Wally being the Flash, it would just end up being too messy, because like, the Justice League is just about to be formed, and then you have Wally as the main Flash, meaning Barry is gonna have to be much older. It wouldn't really work, so I would rather have them follow Barry Allen, and we have Wally in the film maybe as a sidekick, and then eventually set up his own project with the Titans. I think that could work, but I don't think Wally West should be the main Flash of the DCU. Now, obviously, the villains is something to consider. Now, there's a variety of options to explore villains wise with The Flash. The Flash has the best rogues gallery after Batman and Spider Man. He's got so many you can choose from, and I think these villains can really work. Obviously, the main first option that would come into your mind when you think of The Flash is Reverse Flash. I think they can work him very cleverly, and he was a very big missed opportunity that the DCEU film for some reason did not do with the Flashpoint storyline. I'm not saying they should do Flashpoint for this. I think they should completely avoid Flashpoint for James Gunn's universe, at least at the moment. And obviously, like, it just does make sense to have Reverse Flash, because after all, this is the Flash's greatest enemy for a film. So it does make sense that you could use the Reverse Flash. I think James Gunn and the whole creative team can do a much better job with it. The only issue I would say with this, again, yes, I get it. This is the cinematic side of things. Like, this is going to be different. This is the big screen, not a TV show. But we've had the Reverse Flash as a main villain for a whole decade already, so it does make sense to go for another film. Like, you would want something fresh, something we've not seen before. Like I said, of course, it does depend on where in the timeline this film is going to be set as well. If they pick up with, the Flash in his more inexperienced years, taking place before Superman, then yes, you can perfectly delve into the Flash and the Reverse Flash. Otherwise, if the film's going to pick up with Barry already being the Flash, he's a couple of years in, maybe he's crossed paths with the Reverse Flash already. Like, maybe that's already happened and we're gonna get other villains. Who knows? Like, I would really like to see them obviously focus on Barry's CSI profession as well. Him still focusing on his traumas with his mother's murder and his dad being in prison. I would still love to see all of that. But maybe in this film, whenever they announce it and whenever it's going to be made, the Flash and Reverse Flash have already crossed paths. Or maybe they haven't crossed paths yet, but they are going to eventually. And then we can actually focus on other villains, which would obviously make this film stand out. Personally, I would say stay away from speedster villains and stay away from Flashpoint at all costs. Stay away from any like time travel thing unless you like use it as a focal point for Barry's ability where he discovers the ability to time travel. Other than that, just choose to avoid it. You can obviously go into his whole like abilities, the whole Speed Force mythos, all of that obviously you can get into because it's obviously the core of his abilities. But other than that, I would say stay away from Flashpoint and stay away from speedster villains. Now, personally for me, I think James Gunn will absolutely smash it if they do the rogues as the main villains. I think James Gunn could do a very good job with this, and like he's kind of made it work with Suicide Squad. He's made it work with Peacemaker. I think James Gunn will absolutely kill it with the rogues as the villains. You can have Captain Cold, you can have Heatwave, Golden Glider, Mirror Master, Weather Wizard, Captain Boomerang. You can bring Captain Boomerang back, and obviously because this is a rebooted version of the DC universe, you can bring back those characters. I think James Gunn will do a very good job with the rogues. Now, obviously, you don't need to include all of these. You can just have like Captain Cold, Heatwave, Golden Glider, maybe Mirror Master, and that's it, or other versions of the rogues. But I think the rogues would be the best villains to go for. Just simple villains we haven't fully explored before, but also have them team up together and challenge the Flash in different ways. It would be very interesting to explore. This would stand out. It would be grounded, and yes, we've had the rogues before on the show, but I think putting them on the big screen as the main focus for the film would be something different. And obviously, putting the rogues in the hands of James Gunn, I personally think would work very, very well. I think that James Gunn just loves using these out of ordinary characters and focusing on them. He gives them such great stories, such great character development. The writing with these out of the ordinary characters that he focuses on, it's so good. So that's why I think he can really like cook with the rogues, like literally cook. Like you can see what he's done with Peacemaker. You can see that he's done what he's done with lesser known characters in Suicide Squad 2. James Gunn can do this, and I think that's why it would be a very missed opportunity if they do not go for the rogues for the first project of The Flash as obviously the main antagonists. Now, again, maybe do expect the Flash to be nerfed in some way as a plot device for obviously the film to flow. And I just thought about this right now. Obviously, Gorilla Grodd can work as well. I think again, Gorilla Grodd would be one of those characters that James Gunn would do really well, and I think he would be a really cool villain to obviously challenge the Flash on the big screen. But I would just say save Reverse Flash for later. There's no rush. You don't need to do Reverse Flash yet. Let the rogues shine. Now, I wouldn't want it to be overly crowded. Obviously include your main characters. Have Iris in there. It would be really cool to have Wally as Kid Flash as the sidekick in this film, and have the Flash and Kid Flash actually working together to defeat these rogues. I think that would be really cool. I just want them to focus on one protagonist, one character development, one like character we follow through the film, and have the other one, if you are going to have Wally as like just a side character, and set him up for Titans eventually. But I don't want them both to be having like the main role. Otherwise, there's just too much you have to focus on, and I think it could just get really messy like that. So either just have Barry Allen alone and him like facing off against these rogues, or have Kid Flash there as a sidekick and set him up for his own thing with the Titans. Because obviously, depending on when this film is going to take place, we do know Kid Flash is around in this universe as well. So if there is going to be a Flash project, I would personally expect Kid Flash to be around as well. I would just want to keep it for a minimal. Maybe eventually down the line we can have them both being as like the main focus in a film, but I think for a first Flash project, I think it would be too early to have them both being as the main focus. Like if anything, have the Flash as the main guy and then have Kid Flash there as the sidekick. Personally, with me, I would rather just have them as Barry Allen alone. That way we can properly focus on Barry's journey and like the character development he's gonna go through in his own project, and then save Wally for later. And who knows, maybe in a post-credit scene we can have Wally show up, or maybe in a post-credit scene we can have the Reverse Flash set up. All of these are obvious options as well. But tonally, the Flash is a hopeful character with slight humor. I would want an even balance between lightheartedness, emotional weight, but also have your comedy, like humorous sides as well. James Gunn is very good with it. Sometimes he can go a bit over the top, but like, I would be very perfect with it if, you just delve into like Barry's childhood trauma when you need to, with his mom's murder and obviously his dad being in prison. You can focus on that, like focus on the serious stuff when it needs to get serious. But obviously the Flash is also a symbol of hope. He's a more light-hearted character. So, you can get away with like the light-heartedness tone of it as well. And like I said, this fits with James Gunn. Like, he's very good with balancing comedy in superhero films. So I think James Gunn would actually do a very good job with The Flash. I just don't think it needs to be too over the top. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Be sure to let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all of this. Do you guys agree with what I said? Do you guys have more to add on? I'm interested to see all of your thoughts towards all of this as well. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.